Welcome to Behind the Plaster. Today we're at Discovery Fields in Haddenham at one of our direct build sites in the East region. This video will show what really goes on behind the walls of our sector-leading designed 5-star Orbit homes. We'll pull back the layers on key areas like plumbing, electrical, insulation and structural elements. Please join us as we uncover what's really behind the plaster and gain valuable knowledge that will help you enjoy your home. Let's go. Dad, can you explain the two types of walls that are typically in a home, please?
Yeah, so what two different types we've got, Andy, is the external block wall, which accepts what we call a dot and dab system, which essentially is drywall adhesive. We dab it on the walls, and then we get the piece of plasterboard, we squeeze it on, get it level and plumb, and then that's your finish, so ready to accept the plaster. And over here we've got another system, which is on timber stud. So what we do, we offer the plasterboard up, and we screw it to the timber stud, ready to accept the plaster, which is the final finish.
A lot of our customers ask, where can they drill on their walls? So what would you recommend?
Yeah, so what we have here, we don't recommend that you drill all above the sockets and below the sockets, so that if you've got a good stud detector, you will detect these wires. And as you go through, we put little discs on here, which are metal, so you don't screw into the wire. So that in the end user, so when it's all covered in plasterboard, you can detect it with a stud detector, which will then take you out the zones where you should be drilling holes. And then over here we have the pipe work, and then the pipe work has got a foil back to it, so you can easily detect that with a stud detector. Great.
How do our internal walls support heavy items?
Yeah, well, if you come around here, I'll show you. So here we've got a great example of what we call a wall pattress, which is essentially a piece of ply on the stud work. So when you do plasterboard it, you can actually fix items to here, particularly a radiator, and so it won't fall off the wall.
Dave, can you explain what's this duct here that's coming through the roof and what's its purpose?
The ducting is for the extract vent, which gets fitted in the ceiling, which extracts all the bathroom condensation and moisture out into the atmosphere and prevents mould and any condensation.
Can you explain also what's going on in this area here, please?
Yeah, of course I can, Andy. What we've got here is a pipe. It's called a soil and vent pipe. We wrap it in insulation, acoustic insulation, to stop any noises that's flowing through there. And also it has a function where it gets connected to a vent on the roof, which is also to atmosphere. So any noises and any air that's being moved in there, you won't hear it. And it's designed so that there's no negative pressure when you flush the loo.
Great.
Yeah, so following on from upstairs, Andy, with regards to soil and vent pipe, downstairs what we've got here is a different version of it. It's called an air admittance valve. So literally it's a valve that does one way, air doesn't come out, so it stops any odour. So it stops any negative pressure once you flush the toilet. So this is another piece of equipment we use in our homes. This is actually called a heat recovery waste unit. What we do here, essentially it's attached to the shower. So when the shower, if we've used the shower, all the wastewater from the shower comes down into this tube, keeps it warm whilst the cold feed goes up. So when you turn the shower on, the water's coming out already nice and warm.
There's a lot going on up there. Can you explain a bit more about it?
Yeah, so what we've got going up in the floor space essentially is all our pipe runs for our heating and our wastewater, and they sit in the certain type of joist, which is called a girder truss joist, which is glued where the flooring is glued and screwed to it, so it stops all the creaking. And then when we run the pipe runs through, we actually use this vibration mat to stop any vibrations, any pipe creaks. So that's essentially what we're looking at here.
It's really interesting. So Dave, what are the benefits of an air source heat pump compared to a conventional gas boiler?
Air source heat pumps are much more efficient than gas boilers. They produce 3 to 4 units of heat to every unit of electricity consumed.
What further benefits are there of an air source heat pump?
And the benefits are of this unit, Andy, is it has less moving parts than a gas boiler. which help keep the cost down for maintenance.
Great, and why is it so close to the property?
We keep close to the property, Sandy, so that there's less pipe runs, which helps it work more efficiently.
Dave, now that we're in property, how does the heating system actually work?
So the water gets pumped up into this unit here, which then gets pumped all the way through the heating pipes on the ground floor, which is underground heating, and it eliminates the need for radiators in each room, which leaves more space for furniture. And therefore also pumps the water to the upstairs heating, which is a radiator system in each room.
Can you explain how we allow sufficient airflow within our loft space?
Yeah, we install these rafter trays, which allows the air from the outside to come on the inside, in the way of a soffit behind there.
So we should go and look at a home with a ceiling in place?
Yeah, let's go.
I can see that our lofts are really well insulated. Can you explain a bit about that?
Yeah, Andy, we insulate the loft to about 450 millimetres of insulation. It helps with the energy performance in the property, and it effectively traps the heat inside the property, and also prevents mould and condensation. We don't advise anyone to store items in a loft because it could have a detrimental effect on the performance of the insulation, where you could compact it, which would reduce the performance.
We were in here earlier today talking about the insulation in the loft, and I see there's more insulation now fitted to the walls. Can you explain a bit more about it, please?
This insulation that's been fitted is an acoustic insulation. We squeeze that in between the timber studs on the internal walls, and then we come along and we put our plasterboard on the side of it and screw it all up, and that creates your acoustic wall between the two rooms.
If we're on the first floor of this traditionally built home, can you just explain about this area, please?
Yeah, of course. See, what we've got here, we've got two skins of brick and block. On the inside is a thermo block, and on the outside we've got a brick, which creates a facade. And on the middle of that, you've got a cavity of 125mm that then gets filled up with insulation from the inside via a pump. Therefore, it creates a nice warm jacket around the house to keep it nice and warm.
So we're at the top of the cavity here. Can you just explain how this is all finished off?
Yeah, so what we've got here, this is the actual top of the roof. It's designed for finishing off the top of the cavity. So this blue thing, which is a sock, is designed to stop any fibrous insulation coming out of the roof. And also in here, you've got the soffit, which is classed as ventilation into the roof. Down here, we've got the lintel, which has got some insulation sandwiched in between, so it stops any cold bridging between there. And then as we come up to the block and brick, we've got these wall ties. They sandwich in the inner skin and the outer skin blockwork to tie it all in together, so it's all nice and tight.
That's great.
To go on forward from what we talked about with the cavities, this here is a cavity closer. We have it around our doors and windows. It's designed to fill the gap of the cavity. It's a box section with insulation inside it. It's designed to go inside the cavity between the outside wall and the inside wall, and to stop any cold bridging. That's essentially what this is for.
So during a lot of our home demos, our customers ask, what are these vents at the lower end of the home and these small holes that just run along the brickwork here? Can you explain?
Yep. So what we've got here essentially is an air brick. They go underneath the suspended floor, so they're actually in the floor space. And then once we take this off, it's actually designed to have a cross flow of air to prevent moisture, stagnant air, and these also prevent any pests going in to disrupt it.
Okay, and the holes at the top here?
Yeah, so they are called weep holes. We put them in at the bottom of the tray, the cavity tray, so any water droplets that may enter the building will drop down. Instead of it going on top of the window, it will just come out the tray and come out the little weep holes.
That's great, thank you. Can you explain how the water typically drains away from our homes?
Yeah, so we've got two types of water, foul water and storm water. The storm water comes off the roofs, goes into the downpipe, in pipes underground and into this soakaway, which naturally disperses. Great. And then the second type is the foul system, which is at the front.
Okay, so you're going to have a look? Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the second part of the system. Takes all the foul waste, all from the toilets, the bathroom and the kitchen sink, comes down a pipe underground into this section here, then it runs out towards the main sewer.
Can you explain how moisture and cooking smells are extracted from the kitchen, please?
Yeah, so what we have here, Andy, is an extract vent that goes through the wall and to the outside, so it takes all the odour from cooking out into the atmosphere. And then up here in the background we've got an mechanical vent which takes all the smells and the moisture all outside to the atmosphere.
Thanks for watching Behind the Plaster. We hope this has given you a better understanding of what goes on behind the walls of a new Orbit home and how all the unseen systems work together to create safe, comfortable and energy efficient spaces. And remember, if you have any questions about what you have seen today, please contact our customer care team.